Hey YouTube, it's me Watherum, and we have another patch to talk about, so let's just get right into it. We got patch notes for 1.3.4. This is the Pirates Tide new monthly event. This comes with a $20 premium bundle with these three pirate skins for Abza, Claren, and Raster, as well as your standard 25,000 coins and such like that. Otter Maple being the free tier skin at tier 12. RCS updates. After incredibly past August, we're kicking off the second half of R2CS. North America, we have Riptide 2025 and an online event. That's really cool. Europe has the Ultimate Fighting Arena 2025 and an online event of their own. Last month, we revealed the Riptide Pool Party Reno palette, which, by the way, use code WAP, #ad, which is still available in the shop to rep the event. And European Circuit is the massive Ultimate Fighting Arena 2025 event. And we've worked with the organizers to create a UFA Slam Dunk Reno palette, but that is not available in the shop yet, right? Stay tuned for that for later in the week. If you buy either of these bundles but already own the base skins, you'll receive $8 to refund it or make it, just like the other bundles. So they also added Cool Blue Olympia, Pink Leopard Shark or Cane, Mint Bee Crag, Purple Spangled Raster, and Black Pirate Maple. That one looks really cool. I like that one. That one's on brand. All right. We also got this new emo, all these temple icons for all the different characters. Ranked Shop update. Champion Claren is now out, this is a really dope skin. I like this one. This is also really massive. Listen servers for lobby mode are here. Today's patch includes a top requested feature from players. We've added listen server options to allow players to host matches in a public or private lobby directly off their machine instead of through servers. Players can toggle the listen server option in the same menu as the region override, right? So it's right over here. Not for low-end computers, no replays, right? And they also say it's not for bad networks or for tournament play, which is interesting. I wonder why they can't do replays for that. I feel like they should be able to do that. Again, I don't know why. I'm just curious. All right, we got some balance changes. All right, bug fix. Parrying after power shielding will no longer restore your momentum from when you started shielding. Fix the bug that could cause the game to freeze if an article spawned between two pieces of solid ground. Yeah, that's awesome. Canceling a waveland into a dash will now multiply your horizontal speed by 0.2 before applying your dash speed. That's interesting. This increases the speed of dashing after wave dashing in the other direction, as it felt a little too slow after the dash changes to 1.3.3. Okay, cool. The critical hit knockback threshold will now be adjusted for downward setting moves, the same way it is for omnidirectional moves like Zeta Burn, Neutral Special, and Up Special. This means that spikes will be able to activate the critical hit effect at more reasonable percents. Interesting. And added a VFX for untechable knockdowns. Yeah, that's actually really important. We'll get into some of the other patches or the notes in here where some moves were untechable, and I actually had no idea about that. So, Reno. Up Special will no longer start spinning when holding the right stick in a direction. This allows Reno to ASDI with a right stick without canceling Up Special into the spin. This is actually, like, low-key a really powerful buff. I think this lets you survive a lot of things you otherwise wouldn't have been able to survive. Raster. Enemies will no longer be pushed out of Raster's ECB during Up Special startup window. This prevents Raster from pushing enemies away of the sweet spot of the attack, which would occasionally cause it to whiff even if he was right next to them. Yeah, I mean, it's interesting that they even had to do this, right? Because they moved the sweet spot backwards. They also could have just reverted that, I felt like. But they chose to do it this way, so I don't know, I guess it's more balanced this way. Dash attack will no longer cancel parry stun when transitioning from ground to air. Alright. Crag. Pillar will no longer be broken by Claren's Plasma... Oh my god. by Clarence Plasma Field's Lingering Hitbox. I'll be honest, I didn't even know this was possible, so that's a big buff for Crag. I'm surprised it wasn't always like that. Fleet. Dash attack hits 1 and 2 are no longer untackable. So this is exactly what I was saying earlier, right? I didn't know that move was untackable. I thought I was just missing it. This was left over when they were weaker than the final hit. Now that they have the same knockback, this is no longer necessary. Clarin. Down tilt tipper radius from 36 centimeters to 25 centimeters. Hitbox moved forward 11 centimeters. Down tilt outer sour spot radius from 45 centimeters to 35 centimeters. And hitbox move forward 10 centimeters and upward 5 centimeters. This preserves the forward range of the move while shrinking the vertical range both upwards and downwards, and makes it less effective at poking recoveries unless they miss their sweet spot. So yeah, this is a big change. You know, it's like, again, you can see just how easy it was to hit below the ledge before, and now you need to actually have like the forward half of the move, you know, basically what looks like it should be a tipper over the ledge. That's really good quality of life and frustration reducing change here. Back air swipe has been adjusted to better match the hitboxes. Ledge attack active frames from 7 to 6. We're removing the final active frame to make it not hit as low behind Clarin. Hold on, make sure I'm in streamer mode here. Sorry for that. Okay, Force Burn. Force Burn overhead HUD will now be disabled if he is touching smoke at all. This prevents it from giving away his location when traveling through a patchy cluster of smoke clouds. This also makes the overhead HUD visibility correspond with his ability to inhale smoke with down special, giving players an immediate way to tell if they're close enough to the smoke. Yeah, that's interesting. You know, I feel like that's actually a pretty significant buff. I don't know if you can still hear him in that or not. I think you'll still be able to. Also, the smoke cloud hitbox's radii has been reduced from 120 centimeters to 80 centimeters. So you can see this. A lot of these like upward smokes are going to last a lot longer. So it's going to be more difficult to clear smoke. That's also a really big force burn buff. Clone will now disappear 13 frames faster after detonating. Yeah, that's also a really big buff. Clone detonation will now put down special on a 2-frame cooldown. This allows Force Burn to inhale smoke with down special immediately after the clone detonates, instead of being arbitrarily locked out for a short duration. So what this basically means is that Force Burn is going to have access to his mechanics way more frequently. Destroying your own clone by starting a ledge special or get a special will no longer put forward special on cooldown. Yeah, so basically every single special except for like up special. I mean, technically up special gets buffed too because you can teleport into the smoke that's harder to clear, right? So Forceborn just got a massive buff in this patch, and I really wasn't expecting this. You know, I have a feeling this might be the kind of thing that puts Forceburn over the top. Because he was already really good. Also, bug fix. Up special will now land instantly when teleporting into smoke with ground underneath it. So he's going to be more actionable. I mean, again, they say this is a bug fix, but let's be real. This is a buff, right? Orcane. Max horizontal jump speed during run turn has been up from 16 to 19.8, so that's the previous value. This reverts his hydroplane jump speed to its pre-1.3.3 value, since getting a boost from run turn is his unique mechanic. Forward special is now visible during travel. Making it hittable but not visible was confusing, so we're making Orcane morph into a water ball instead of disappearing. Because the movement is extremely quick, Orcane's movement mix-ups are still unreactable, even though it is now visible. Yeah, that makes sense. Fix the bug that prevented Orcane from fast falling during forward special's special fall window after the animation had looped. Edilus. Up special's maximum charge time can no longer decay longer than 25 frames. This means that he will always be able to halfway charge his up special. Yeah, this is a buff for Edilus, but I'm not too happy about it, because if you already have to rinse and repeat him so many times to make him lose all of that, you really should be rewarded for that more as the opponent. I don't know. They obviously thought that was unfair. Forward strong will no longer lose ice armor when canceling into up down strong on the first 2 frames. Also pretty powerful. Up strong hit 1 is no longer untechable. This was ported directly from Rivals 1, but it ended up causing some overly advantageous situations even when the correct counterplay was applied, such as the opponent's DIing to hit or to avoid hit 2, but ends up landing on a platform. Alright, Absa. Forward Special's Cloud will now be destroyed if Absa gets hit before its active frames. This prevents it from hitting opponents after they interrupted Absa's Forward Special. That's great. If Up Special Part 1 is grounded on the frame that it would normally go into the Special Fall window, it will now go into a 9-frame grounded recovery unless it hits the opponent. This makes it functionally similar to Up Special Part 2. Previously, Absa could avoid almost all of the landing lag of the move if she ended a short distance above the ground, which was unintuitive / difficult to punish. This move still functions the same on hit, but it will be more punishable on whiff when ending on or near the ground. A Special Part 1 will no longer count as grounded if it travels upward and ends right above the ground. This removes the situation where Absa could avoid going into Special Fall after using Part 1 to go upward right above the ledge, and then going into the air with Part 2. So this is a slight nerf. Also slight nerf, I would say here. Generally, slight nerfs. Special Pummel's static electricity will now be removed from all opponents when Absa is KO'd. Yep, that makes sense. Forward tilt Part 1 in backward range reduced by 20 centimeters. So you can see here, less likely to hit the people behind her. Forward tilt Part 2 can now clash with other Absa forward tilts. Forward strong inner multi-hit now reaches both upward and further both upward and downward. That's this one here. This hitbox is now expanded. This should make it link to the final hit more reliably when clipping opponents with the inner corners of the move. Up strong hits 1 and 2 now reach 40 centimeters higher. That makes them able to reach low platforms, increasing the move's usefulness in tech chasing below platforms. That's a massive buff. Get Up Attack will now lose its intangibility halfway through the active frames instead of being intangible for all of them. Her Get Up Attack has extremely long active frames and a relatively short recovery window, so we're reducing the intangibility to be more in line with other characters' Get Up Attacks. So yeah, ultimately they did some give and take on Absa. I would say generally net buff for Edelus, net buff for Orcane, big buffs for Forsburn, and nerfs to Claren. Those are I think the real big main takeaways. And also Raster's going to be a little more consistent too. So with that said, chat, stay safe, stay elite. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.